Welcome to 365 Language Planet. If you want to learn and use English, Spanish, Japanese, and or German, this is the channel for you. We do live stream shows every Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday at 8:30 p.m. Japan Standard Time. In each show, you can learn great questions for talking about the theme of the show, and you can actually practice using language by writing your answers and new questions in the chat. I can't wait to enjoy learning and using languages with you. So, please subscribe and join the show. See you soon. Nos vemos pronto. Bis bald. また近いうちに会いましょう。Welcome, willkommen, yokoso. This is Let's Speak English, German, Japanese Live, episode 12. The theme of this episode is walking, 散歩する, spazieren. Before we start, let's check this month's 365 language galaxies, stars, and planets. So far, we have 5 galaxies: Kanmama, Takanona, YO, K-Workshop, and Hiromi Okada. Way to go! And 4 stars: Charming, Hakiagnor, KE, and Tetsuro. Nice job. And 6 planets: Takesh, Hiroti, A Hybrid, Grandma K, Hira, I forgot, but Misato, and Kaka Melon 0693. Nice job. If you want to become a 365 language planet, all you need to do is share an idea in the chat or in the comments. So, let's begin. Lass uns anfangen. Hajimemashou. Let's start with speed training. I'll say some phrases in German from the video Learn German with Useful Phrases, and then the phrases in Japanese from the video Learn English with Useful Phrases. And I'll give you 1 minute to write the phrases in English. The first phrase is Ich kann Japanisch und ein bisschen Spanisch sprechen. Und Sie? So now you have 1 minute to write this sentence in the chat or in the comments. In Japanese, people say, 私は日本語と少しのスペイン語を話します。あなたはどうですか? So, how do you say this phrase in English? Please let me know in the chat or in the comments. Ich kann Japanisch und ein bisschen Spanisch sprechen. Und Sie? Any ideas? Ich kann Japanisch und ein bisschen Spanisch sprechen. Und Sie? In Japanese, 私は日本語と少しのスペイン語を話せます。あなたはどうですか? Alright, K-Workshop, thank you for joining tonight's show. I speak Japanese and a bit Spanish. How about you? Very nice idea. Alright, well, and the answer is... Oh, charming! Thank you for joining tonight's show too. I can speak Japanese and Spanish a little bit. Very nice. So the answer is, I can speak Japanese and a little Spanish. How about you? But I can speak Japanese and a bit of Spanish. is okay. And I can speak Japanese and Spanish a little bit. That'll be fine. All right, nice idea, Charming. And Takanona, thank you for joining tonight's show. I can speak Japanese and a little bit of Spanish. How about you? Very nice. Take Agner says, I can't speak Japanese and Spanish a little. How about you? Thank you for joining tonight's show, Take Agner. All right. Well, let's move on to the next phrase, which is Lernen Sie jetzt irgendwelche Sprachen? So yeah, 1 minute to write this phrase in English. In Japanese, people say, Ima nani ka gengo o monande imasu ka? So how do you say it in English? Lernen Sie jetzt irgendwelche Sprachen? Any ideas? If you have an idea, please share your idea in the chat. Lernen Sie jetzt irgendwelche Sprachen? In Japanese, Ima nani ka gengo o manande imasu ka? All right, K Workshop says, are you learning any languages? Great job to use the S at the end. Very nice, nice S. Languages. Any ideas? Lernen Sie jetzt irgendwelche Sprachen? Charming says, what languages are you learning now? Nice idea. Are you learning any languages now? Nice correction, K Workshop. No problem. All right, well, let's see. Lernen Sie jetzt irgendwelche Sprachen? In English? Are you learning any languages now? Little bit different than what languages are you learning, but it's very close. Kan Mama, thank you for joining tonight's show. Are you learning any languages now? Very nice, nice work. Okay, let's move on to the last phrase, which is Ich lerne jeden Tag Spanish und Deutsch. Und Sie? How do you say this phrase in English? You have 1 minute. Ich lerne jeden Tag Spanish und Deutsch. Und Sie? In Japanese, people say, 私は毎日スペイン語とドイツ語を勉強しています。あなたはどうですか? How do you say it in English? Please let me know in the chat or in the comments. Ich lerne jeden Tag Spanish und Deutsch. Und Sie? A big hint is jeden Tag in English means every day. So that's a big hint. Ich lerne jeden Tag Spanish und Deutsch. Und Sie? Right, K Workshop says, I learn Spanish and German every day. How about you? Nice idea. I learn is okay, and but in German, sometimes lernen is also sometimes translated as study too. So I learn or I study. You can use both. All right. Well, the answer is I study Spanish and German every day. How about you? But as I said, I learn Spanish and German every day. How about you? It's okay too. So, nice work, everyone. Let's now, in the next speed training, I will say phrases from the videos I'm going to post on Saturday morning at 8:30 a.m. And so, if you want to check those videos in the morning. You can check, or anytime after Saturday, 8:30 a.m. The new videos should be posted. Okay, so now let's talk about the theme of this episode, which is walking. 散歩する spazieren. So the first question of tonight's show is, do you prefer going for a walk in the city or in nature? Auf Deutsch, gehen Sie lieber in der Stadt oder in der Natur spazieren? 日本語で街中を散歩するのと自然の中を散歩するのとではどちらが好きですか? So now, please write your answer in the chat or in the comments. Very nice, charming. Schreibe deine Antwort bitte in den Chat oder in die Kommentare. チャットまたはコメントに答えを書いてください. Okay, so charming, nice idea. I like both too. But you can explain more. Why do you like both, charming? Do you prefer to take a walk in the city or in nature? In English, you can say take a walk or go for a walk. Both are okay. Please write your answer in the chat or in the comments. All right, Taka Agner says, I prefer in nature because it makes me relax. Nice idea. Gehen Sie in der Stadt oder in der Natur spazieren? Schreibe deine Antwort bitte in den Chat oder in die Kommentare. Grandma Kay, thank you for joining tonight's show. I prefer to take a walk around the city. Well, why is that, Grandma Kay? I like to take a walk around the city too. I think it's very, fun and exciting to see the nightlife. So I'd like to take a walk around the city in the evening. But yeah. All right, Come Mama says I prefer if you know two, then you gotta add ing. I prefer taking a walk in the city because I love window shopping. Sounds great. Favorite shop says I prefer going for a walk in the nature because I don't like car noise. Good point. I don't like cars. Like, cars are dangerous. So, yeah, nice answer. Lakanona says, I prefer walking in nature because I can feel the seasons. Nice idea. Charming says, sometimes I prefer take a walk in the nature when I'm tired. And I see. Again, if you don't use to, you have to add ing. So like I prefer taking or I prefer to take. Both are okay, but you either gotta use to take or taking. All right. See if I can say this question in Japanese. Hiromiyakata, thank you for joining tonight's show. I like taking a walk in nature, but I also love taking a walk in the city while I go to the abroad. Nice. I think you don't have to add to the. You can just say while I go abroad or when I go abroad. Good phrase too. Okay, so 街中を散歩するのと 自然の中を散歩するのとでは、どちらが好きですか？ All right. Grandma Kay said, I like to go for a walk along the coast. Sounds great. That's like the picture of this video. Human Kara says, when I go abroad, gotcha. Nice. Okay. Well, great job. You can always share your idea in the chat or in the comments anytime. Well, now, let's move on to the next section. So now, please write a new question in the chat or in the comments. Aurora, bitte schreib eine neue Frage in den Chat oder in die Kommentare. Ima, チャットまたはコメントに新しい質問を書いてください。That's right, Grandma Kay. Guma is landlocked, but not far from the ocean. I think, it's kind of, Guma is landlocked, but it's pretty easy to go to like Shonan Beach or Niigata. So I think, lucky. It's lucky to live in Guma. All right, K Workshop says, do you prefer riding to a mountain or a riverside? Interesting question. And I kind of like riding to a mountain because I feel like, especially like on a bicycle, going up the mountain is very good exercise. And then coming down the mountain is very cool, refreshingly cool air. So that's what I like. But how about you, K Workshop? I do like riding along the riverside as well because sometimes you see interesting wildlife. All right, Charming says, which do you like, taking a walk with someone or alone? Great question. Just like your answer, Charming, I like both. Today, I took a walk alone, and it was a good chance for me to practice speaking German and Japanese. I was wearing a mask, and so no one could see my mouth moving, but I was practicing speaking. But walking with someone is very fun too. So I like both. How about you, Charming? And I think, the good point about walking alone is you can decide where you want to go and how far you want to go. I think sometimes I like to go, really far, but if I'm walking together with someone, they might say, oh, I'm tired. I want to go. I want to stop. So Charmy says, me too. I like both. Just like you, like I said, I like both, but I think I probably prefer taking a walk alone or running alone a little bit more, just because then I have the freedom to decide if I want to go longer or if I want to stop and come home. So I like that freedom. If you're just joining the show, in this section, you can write a new question in the chat or in the comments using English, German, or Japanese. Okay, Workshop says, I prefer riding to a riverside because there's a good riverside cycling road in Maebashi. I think so too. And a lot of nice cycling roads in Guma. All right, Takanona says, do you prefer speaking Spanish or Vietnamese? Great question. Definitely Spanish. Spanish is much easier for me than Vietnamese. How about you, Takanona? Kanmama says, do you prefer eating Japanese foods or Korean foods? Well, I would say the only Korean food I like is kimchi and yakiniku. But Japanese food, I like many types of Japanese food. So I guess I prefer eating Japanese food, but I like both. Tough question. How about you, Kun Mama? All right. Well, if you're still typing, please continue, and you can share your ideas anytime in the chat or in the comments. Now, let's move on to the next question of tonight's show, which is, what time would you like to take a walk? Auf Deutsch, wie viel Uhr möchten Sie spazieren gehen? 日本語で何時に散歩に行きたいですか? So, please write your answer in the chat or in the comments. Schreibe deine Antwort bitte in den Chat oder in die Kommentare. チャットまたはコメントに答えを書いてください. You have 4 minutes. Sie haben 4 Minuten. 4分間あります. Okay, so what time would you like to take a walk? Please write your answer in the chat or in the comments. Wie viel Uhr möchten Sie spazieren gehen? All right, Taki Agner says, I would like to take a walk at 6 a.m. That's super early. Tommy says, I would like to take a walk in the morning. Nice idea. Yamakawa says, I'm not a morning person, so I usually take a walk in the late afternoon. Nice answer. I'd like to take a walk around 7 a.m. Alright. Schreibe deine Antwort bitte in den Chat oder in die Kommentare. Okay, Workshop says, it's a tough question. I'd like to take a walk in the morning, but I can't wake up. Oh no. Good English, but oh no. All right. Nanji ni sanpo ni ikitai desu ka? So for me, I think the best, for me, I like to take a walk in the late afternoon / early evening. So I like to, take a walk before I eat dinner. Nona says, I want to go for a walk with my dog at 6 o'clock. Nice idea. Grandma K says, I like to go for a walk, for a late afternoon walk after working. That's nice. Sounds great. Yeah, I took a walk tonight at about 5 o'clock. And so it was for me, usually I can't take a walk at 5 o'clock because I'm not home. I'm not finished with work, but today I didn't have kids lessons, so that was a great chance to take a walk at 5 o'clock. So it's always tough, like 5 o'clock is kind of that gray zone between evening and afternoon. Late afternoon, early evening, 5 o'clock. But I like 5 o'clock. I guess you could say that maybe the last hour before sunset. Because as the sun goes down at different times. All right. Well, if you're still typing, please continue and you can share your ideas anytime during the show or after the show in the chat or in the comments. But now let's move on to the next section. So please write a new question in the chat or in the comments. Jetzt bitte schreib eine neue Frage in den Chat oder in die Kommentare. 今、チャットまたはコメントに新しい質問を書いてください。You have 4 minutes. All right. So you can write a new question by changing my question. Maybe what time do you want to eat breakfast? Great question. Recently I like to eat breakfast around 2 p.m. or 6 p.m. How about you, Takanona? Grandma Kay says, I just took a walk with my grandsons today. Wow, sounds great. I bet your grandsons love taking a walk, right? My son used to love taking a walk or going to the park, but now he's 11 years old, almost 12, and he doesn't like taking a walk anymore with me. So that's too bad. It's okay. No problem. So anyways, now please write a new question in the chat or in the comments. You can write a new question by changing my question, or you can write a completely new question is okay as well. I think a kind of funny question might be, what time would you like to start drinking? All right, K Workshop says, what time would you like to eat lunch? If possible, at 11 a.m. because I don't eat breakfast. Great question. So same as, I told Takanona my lunch, I like to eat lunch / breakfast at 2 p.m. But recently I feel like, I feel like I'm a little bit like I'm gaining weight. So maybe I don't need to eat lunch. I can just eat dinner. 1 meal a day, maybe. All right. Takanona says, I like to eat breakfast at 6:30 a.m. That's very early. And so, everyone's different. We talked about genetics with hay fever. So maybe for some people, they can eat breakfast and feel great. But for me, I feel much happier when I don't eat breakfast. And so, it's interesting. Hiromi Akata says, what do you want to do with your son instead of walking? Great question. Well, great question. And today I took a walk by myself today, which, I think is important. You don't have to spend like every minute, every second together. Sometimes it's okay to do different things. But yeah, that's a great question. Sometimes we have a drone. So sometimes my son and I, we play with the drone inside our home instead of walking. Mama says, which season would you like to take a trip? Oh, tough question. Great question. I love to take a trip in summer to somewhere cooler than Guma. So like go to Hokkaido or go to Oregon. It's a great time to leave Guma because Guma is so hot. All right. How about you, Mama? Please, if you're still typing, please continue and share your idea in the chat or in the comments anytime. Now, let's move on to the last question of the show, which is, I don't often go for walks these days, but I want to. How about you? Auf Deutsch. Ich gehe jetzt nicht oft spazieren, aber ich möchte es. Und Sie? 日本語で、最近はあまり散歩に出かけないのですが、散歩したいと思っています。あなたはどうですか? So, please write your answer in the chat or in the comments. Jetzt schreibe deine Antwort bitte in den Chat oder in die Kommentare. 今、チャットまたはコメントに答えを書いてください。You have 4 minutes. Sie haben 4 Minuten. 4分間あります。I don't often go for a walk these days, but I want to. How about you? Please write your answer in the chat or in the comments. Ich gehe jetzt nicht oft spazieren, aber ich möchte es. Sie? Schreibe deine Antwort bitte in den Chat oder in die Kommentare. All right, Take Agner says, I go for walks on the weekends these days. That's great. Kan Mama says, me too. Cherry blossom season started. That's true. It's very true. I walked around Kayaki Walk this late afternoon / early evening, and I saw cherry blossoms, which was great. All right, Grandma Kay says, I have to take a walk because I don't get enough exercise. Me too, me too. Hiro Mikata says, I go for a walk almost every day. It's good for rehab for my knee. Great. If you want, you can just say, you don't need to use the for rehab. You can say, it's good rehab for my knee. Very nice, nice ideas. Okay. Akanona says, me too. I hardly go for walks on weekdays. I want to go for walks with my dog on weekends. Let's do it. Let's do it. Saikin wa amari sanpo ni dekakenai no desu ka? 散歩をしたいと思っています。あなたはどうですか? Something like that. Okay. チャットまたはコメントに答えを書いてください。Alright, K Workshop says, I don't want to go for a walk in hay fever season. Me neither. But today I took a walk and it was not too bad. My eyes were a little bit itchy, but I wore a mask too. So I think maybe the peak terribleness of hay fever is over. Maybe. Okay, well, nice job. If you're still typing, please continue, and you can share your ideas anytime in the chat or in the comments. Now, let's move on to the last section of tonight's show. Please write a new question in the chat or in the comments. Jetzt bitte schreib eine neue Frage in den Chat oder in die Kommentare. 今、チャットまたはコメントに新しい質問を書いてください。You have 4 minutes. Sie haben 4 Minuten. 4分間あります。You can write a new question by changing my question, or writing a completely new question is okay too. So anything is okay. I had about 2 weeks. I went about 2 weeks without exercising, but recently I started exercising the last 3 days, and so I feel good. I mean, I'm happy. I started exercising again, but my back, my lower back, is quite sore. Okay. Okay, Workshop says, I need to do various houseworks, but I don't want to. Do? Great question. Sometimes me too, especially the dishes. But, I think you have to take a good rest. And so I've had a little bit of a break recently from lessons, so I've been trying to take a really good rest. And then exercise, work, clean, do housework. So yeah, I think if you ever if you don't feel like uh, doing housework, it's usually because you are too tired, and so it's good to take a rest. Just don't do anything, lay down, take a rest, and pretty soon, it's kind of like magic power. But after taking a rest, um, it's much easier to do housework. But the trick, the tough part is like not watching TV or not watching videos. Okay, Hiromi Okada says, are you good at control your drone? And how about your son? Great question. Yes, at first I was terrible at driving slash controlling a drone, but after practice, I got pretty good. And then so we started trying making kind of an obstacle course. You gotta fly around the kind of cardboard box or land inside the box. It is really fun. I think flying a drone is a kind of very fun hobby. Actually, I want to get more drones because they're so fun to play with. But recently we don't play as much as we used to, but we should. I think maybe I'll encourage my son to fly his drone more. He's good. He's good at flying the drone too. Fun to make an obstacle course. Now, thank you, Mikado. It is much funner than I expected. All right. Well, if you're still typing, please continue, and you can share your ideas in the chat or in the comments anytime. But that's the end of tonight's show. Thank you so much for studying and using languages with me tonight. We have shows every Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday. So I feel my brain needs to sleep. Good night. Okay, workshop, please take a good rest. Take a good rest. And I hope you have a great evening and a great weekend. If you haven't already, please subscribe and give the show a big thumbs up. I hope everyone has a great night and a great weekend, and I will see you on Sunday. So, see you next time. Nos vemos pronto. Bis bald. Mata chikai uchi ni aimashou. Thank you too, Hiromi. Till next time.